this. All right. The year is 2011. I am in my 8th year at the SiriusXM radio complex, industrial complex. I'm now doing the morning drive show. I'm the #1 listened to host on that channel. And they actually are letting me nominate who I think, when I take some time off, who should fill in for me. That ends in the spring of 2011, and they start telling me, no, we got this guy from Breitbart. His name's Steve Bannon. We want Bannon to fill in. And I'm like, he's a neocon. I don't like Bannon. I don't want Bannon filling in for me. And I was like, well, he does the weekends with the Breitbart Weekend. He'll do a fine job, blah, blah, blah. So Bannon starts filling in for me. Now, ultimately, when my contract comes up for renewal in November of 2015, SiriusXM informs me that they're not going to renew it. So guess who was waiting in the wings for Mikey? That's right, Steve Bannon was waiting right there. Now, these idiots at SiriusXM could not possibly have known what his game was, but I ultimately would know. He offered to work for free, or like a Steve Jobs deal for $1, took the gig, but what was he really trying to do? He needed a national platform to get the attention of Donald John Trump. And he used the Mike Church show. I built that effing audience up after 13 years. It was my audience. I built it from nothing. We started with 3,000 subscribers in 2002. I built that audience. Bannon stole it from me, and Sirius gave it to him, and he used it to get Trump's attention. He had Trump on almost every other day on the SiriusXM Patriot channel. Ultimately, he leaves SiriusXM high and dry and leaves to go work for Trump. Well, I see a blip on your graph here with Steve Bannon. So I want you to tell me, Steve Bannon on the good side of Rockefeller Rothschild or the bad side?
I have over 100 graphs, and I have him in a bunch of them. So, I'm not sure which graph you saw, but here's one of the more interesting things I discovered about Steve Bannon is between Jeffrey Epstein's 2 arrests, Bannon was hanging out with him a lot between 2009 and 2019. And the story that's given that when people, most people seem to dodge it, right? I don't even see Whitney Webb talking about it, but people say, oh, it was part of like helping rehabilitate Epstein's image. So I was like, wait, but who is Bannon? What's going on? So I started to read up on him. I knew Breitbart, right? And I'd heard Goldman Sachs, but I'd heard Seinfeld, but I kept going back. He was reporting to the Secretary of the Navy at the Pentagon. Right. So I feel certain that he's naval intelligence, right? Naval intelligence is a way more powerful proportion of the intelligence agencies than most people realize. People remember, whatever movie they've seen and they go, the CIA, the NSA. No. You're not getting the story if you're watching movies. Naval intelligence is who built the internet, right? That's Douglas Engelbart at SRI. Naval intelligence is, well, you know what? One of the 2 founders of, or 2 most commonly cited founders of the Theosophical Society, Colonel Henry Alcott, was pulled into naval intelligence. Naval intelligence, L. Ron Hubbard was naval intelligence, and I think naval intelligence runs literally created cults. I think the Theosophical Society was that. I think it was probably a joint project between U.S. and Britain. Then you've got Falun Gong, which looks like Scientology templated with Taoism added on top, right? And it popped up right after Tiananmen Square. And interestingly, where did Steve Bannon go once he left Breitbart? As he went over to the Epoch Times, which was built by Falun Gong.
This is incredible. Okay, one thing that naval intelligence also was sending communique. We now have them. They've been they're public record now to Roscoe White. Roscoe White is very possibly one of the men that assassinated President Kennedy, and depending on whose story you believe. But Roscoe White was getting his orders from, he went to work for the DPD because the naval intelligence sent him a cable. It exists, extant. I've read it. telling him to go take a photographer's job. The guy wasn't even a photographer. Take a photographer's job at the Dallas Police Department or at the Dallas Morning News. We're going to have to wrap it up, Mathew. This this story must continue, though. We must agree that let's say once a month we'll make it the Mathew Crawford hour, because I don't think I've scratched the surface here.
Yeah, I don't think any of us have, right? And I'll just go ahead and add my opinion. I think that Bannon either was making sure things were all right in the Epstein network or taking control of it.
Wow.
Those are my two strongest hypotheses. And then Epstein's network is all over the pandemic. All over the pandemic.
Absolutely incredible. Read this guy, Mathew Crawford, Rounding the Earth newsletter.com, roundingtheearth.substack.com.